Today we're going to walk through a photo set that I captured while I was in Sevilla, Spain. And to do that, I used my Fuji X100VI. I just love this camera because it's so unintrusive. People don't even pay attention to it. So this first one was at a location called Plaza de España in Sevilla, and it was during sunrise. I just really fell in love with the highlights and the shadows that were playing in this image and how the morning light was hitting it. And I really wanted to wait for a subject to walk through the frame to really just add some life to it. Beauty of a human ran through the frame. How I snapped it and I looked and I was like, this is it. Really loved how the light was hitting every part of this image. And going on, this is in the city center of Sevilla, where there is so many tourists, and I really wanted to capture a mix of the locals plus tourists living in unison together. And here I just really enjoyed capturing the motion of a local walking around and doing his daily routine while there was the horse carriages and people in line to go see this cathedral. To me, it's just like, what is the story behind this guy? He just is going about his daily life, and all of a sudden he has to walk through these city centers with so much noise and everything like that. And this was another one on my morning walk where Bar Gonzalo, and it's the restaurant owner opening up and getting ready to lower the canopy there. And I just really, everything in Sevilla was very romanticized to me because the way that the light and the color of the buildings and the architecture was hitting throughout the day, even from sunrise to sunset, there was always a portion of the city that was just glowing. One other thing that I love, there's so many channels out there that review like the technical aspects of cameras and images and things like that. I just want to document and capture moments. And my favorite image of the photo set, there was this picture of this old man, and right in that moment, I saw him just casually going about his day. And a big thing in these images is not to be intrusive and just authentically capture what's in front of you. And here, him walking away was this story, because you imagine you're in this street filled with mopeds and motorbikes, and just a block away, there's so many tourists visiting, but then also he's just walking with his hands behind his back with this cute little hat. I would love to just sit with this man and talk to him about his life story. And I think that is what moves me when I am looking for an image. While I can plan on a certain type of photo that I want to capture, I let the city dictate and the environment dictate what I actually capture. I think that's important to note, because then you don't have an agenda of what you get to capture. You always are open and looking around and just being present. I think that's so important when documenting life. Here's a little self-portrait showcase where I am in that moment. This image, I saw this street sign and I really loved how the light was hitting it, and the shadows around it made everything a lot more dark. And I wanted to capture someone walking through it. And on the first time, this man walked through and he yawned, and I was like, that's it. He was going on his morning stroll to work, is what I would imagine. Yeah, it's just so cool to see also, no matter where you are in the world, we all live similar lives. It was a sunrise, and this is members of the Spain kayaking team, as you can see from the details on their kayak here with their branding. It's so beautiful to me when people are just naturally doing what they're born to do in their passion. Here, the sun was really, really hitting, and I could go deep into each of these photos, but honestly, I just really love them. There doesn't have to be a meaning behind every single photo you take and every photo that you tell, because I think with these photo sets, they speak for themselves and they really just tell their own story of how you want to take it in. And I think that's also things that I love about images, is that people get to take in and just decide what that photo means to them, and that is incredible. This next image, I always love photographing people in motion, and everybody around the city was riding a bike or a moped. Enjoyed this street because it says "I am joy" here in the background, and to me, I believe we're all full of joy and we're all full of hope, and I wanted to stand here until I found some sort of composition. This is the one that I captured that I just fell in love with, because it's this woman on her way to wherever she was going, plus there's a modern car Plus there's people walking on their other side, and there's just so much depth in the story of what this image could be, and like all these life stories. The pastel-y colors of the buildings with how the light was hitting here, but also they keep their streets so clean in Sevilla. And a lot of that reasoning was because of these trucks that are driving. This was a street cleaning truck, and they just were all around the city going about their days. And this one, the essence of the people keeping Sevilla clean. I ended up taking a day trip to Cordoba, Spain. This train station, how that light was hitting, I just always think European transportation is so beautiful, and I love train stations. Outside of course, the beauty of the trains is if you look in the bottom right here, it's such a cute little family walking with their kid in the middle. And I just think back to when I was a child, how much of the world there is left to see, and the childlike beauty of there's so much life. This is one entering the train station in Cordoba, similar to Sevilla. The special thing that I noticed about Cordoba is that every alley and every street had some sort of light peeking through it. And here, this arrow pointing the other way, the street sign pointing down the street with how the light was hitting it, I wanted to just wait till a couple people walked through it. And in this image, you see two of them are looking at me and one of them's looking at their phone. The reason that really resonated with me is because it's so true to today's life that so many of us are just consumed by our phones and social media and just scrolling and not being present, to where you're walking in like a wrong direction, and you're walking in a direction and not really understanding where you're going or when you're getting there. One of my favorite aspects of photo is slow shutter. Motion blur is so cool and I love it. Just I really wanted to capture the busyness and then beauty of the cathedral in the background. And I feel like motion blur adds such a dynamic to a photo when used purposefully. Yeah, I just really love this image. On my way back to the train station to go back to Sevilla, the sun started to set, and I just saw this couple staring in and how the light was hitting the street and hitting them. I just take myself and put myself into their shoes, and I'm like, what is their life story? How did they get to this specific moment? Just like how I got to that specific moment. This is like what drives me in my documentation of life. It's just people living their life. And to me, that is so beautiful. And I think we need more of that in this world. I feel like this is gonna be a long video, but I could go deep into every single photo, and I just really enjoyed this one because it captures all the aspects of normal transportation that I saw while I was experiencing Sevilla, plus the beauty of the architecture and colors here. I stayed in Triana. As you can see, it says Hotel Triana here. Triana was such a cute little area. Buskers. I love that no matter where you are in the world, people are always some sort of street performers. And here, they were just doing their thing, giving joy and spreading music and light to the community. Some people stopped and watched, some people kept going. And this is another one where I think motion is so cool to capture here, because they're still, while there's so many people always passing and going in life, right? This, I just loved the moped, and I loved the street, and it was so quiet. It was just a moment of peace. I stood here for like 10 minutes just taking in this street, just looking at every single detail, the windows, the banners hanging, how the air felt on my skin. And I think slowing down in life is so important too. And I always like to capture some aspect of that no matter where I'm at. A cute little mirror selfie. But I also thought it was funny because on the left here, it had a sign of no peeing. And then it also had the arrow that says no that way. Yeah, I just really enjoyed that perspective and self-portrait of myself for the memories. Let me know down below which image was your favorite and why, and if you would like an edit breakdown on any of these. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. You could have been doing anything and you chose to spend a few minutes with me, and I love you.